In this section, we're going to talk about the WiSys Agility Explorer for the inventory and purchase order applications that can help you streamline and automate your Macola software processes. So here I have the WiSys Agility Explorer application open, and I have selected the inventory and bill of materials section. And again, you can see there are lots of applications that we have for the inventory and bill of materials section. Right now I'm going to show you some of the top features here, and I'm going to choose the inventory location master list as one of the views. When I open this, it's going to open up again to one of our standard grids. Now this doesn't have an initial filter on it, but it still has the top filter across the top here. And I can go on ahead and filter for any information here. So if I want to look for my chocolate ice cream, the more I type, it's context sensitive, so the more it will filter down there. If I want to take a look at my item number, you'll see it's also building my filter down here, and I can edit this filter here and build on this filter. So it's very flexible. And to get rid of that filter, I can just close that or I can erase it. Now, you'll see that I have a magnifying glass here, and I have also multiple buttons down here at the bottom. When I select an item, the buttons light up based upon if they apply. So for this item, AWES, I have open orders, I have order history, I have pop orders, I don't have any open POs, and I do have a bill of material. So if I want to see the bill of material, because I can see all of my location information and some of my master information here, so I see my quantities, I see my costs, I see my total costs, all of that information is in this easy grid. I can select my bill of material button, and I can see all the items that comprise the bill of material for this particular item here. If I want to take a look at open orders, I can click on the open orders button and I get a list of all of the open orders where I can select the order button or drill down into any of those orders if I want more detail. Now here I can also go on ahead and I'm going to double click on this particular item, and it's going to open up my multi-level item view. And in my multi-level item view, I can see all of my accumulator information, I can see my inventory location information down here, and then again I can drill into the item master by clicking on the item master button and open up the item master dialog here and see all of the setup for that particular item here. And when I'm done, I close. And here, if I want, again, a different way, I'm opening up the open orders, same screen for that item. If I want to see the open pop orders, same thing. Here also down below I have the item, and I can drill into the location and get the location dialog and see all of the location information. So quantities, accumulators, if I need the bin information or I need to see what's in the bins, I can get my bin information. It is a lotted item for me, so I can see all of my lot information here. Very easy to find out everything you need to know about an item just from one screen where I can drill and open and close as I need it. So I'm going to go on ahead and I'm going to close this item here. And down here you'll notice that if I open up the location master, it would be the exact same thing. Now this is a standard grid here, so one of the things you can do is I can go on ahead and I can filter this. So maybe I want to filter by just my MA location, and I can also drag some columns around. So this is my on-hand quantity, here's my average cost. You'll notice over here I have some of my total average cost, so maybe I want to drag this over here because I want my total cost right here. Now if I scroll down here, you'll see that at the bottom here I can go to display, I can insert a footer on my grid here, and I could come down here and I can do a sum. Now I could save this layout, so it always saves this particular layout, but very easily here I have a stock status report of all of my items and my quantities that are in my MA location. And with that stock status report, I have the option here to export to a main grid here. And that lets me export this report to Excel or PDF or text, any of those particular options here. Now I could have, instead of filtering on this location, I could go on ahead and get rid of that filter. And what I could do is I could group it by location. Oops, I gotta insert my group by panel. This is all out of the box functionality here. And I'm gonna add my location. You can see I have various different ones. I'm gonna full expand. And now I'm going to come down here to where I have a section, and I'm going to right click and I'm going to sum it by section here. So if I come up here and I can see that I am in my location here for CA, and if I scroll down I have my total inventory costs for CA. Here I have it for IT. So I have a stock status report here with the values for all of my different locations. And then if I wanted to keep this, I'm just going to come in here to my menu and I would do a save as, and this could just be a stock status report. Makes it very easy to do with this grid off an inventory master location. So that's one application. Next, let's come on ahead and let's take a look at the inventory serial lot trace. And if you are serialized or a lotted company here, you'll see I have a filter here where I can filter by item number, range, serial lot, information, manufacturer's location, and even streamline it down to dates. So in my serial lot trace here, what I'm seeing is at the top here, this is your inventory transaction audit table here. And it is simply showing you in a very nice Excel grid-like format all of the transactional information here. So I see my serial numbers, I see my location, my bin, my quantities, the type of transaction here that it is, and I have it in order here by the transaction date and time. So I can see based on the type and the quantity, and if there's an order number associated to that, and I start at the bottom, here I can see I've received in three different serial numbers here into bin 100 for location MA, and I received in 25 each. Next I had an issue, and then I had a couple of transfers. So I had a transfer out of the 100 bin and into the ship bin, and then I can just keep scrolling up and I see all of this information. And remember, this is good if I need a report on this or I need an audit list or anything like that. Of course, I can always come to the display here, export this out, and I can export it again. Remember, to Excel. If I might need to manipulate it, it exports exactly as you see it, or maybe PDF if I don't want it to be changed and I need it to look like this. Now, you can move the columns around, make it look exactly like you want it, save that off and export that out there to do that. Down here in this child screen, let me get rid of this here, I have the actual serial lot on hand detail. So when I am looking at my item, AWES here, these are the lot numbers that I have for the on-hand quantities. So I can see here's all the different lot numbers I have, and here's the bin numbers that they're in. Then I have over here the quantity on hand and the cost, and of course I can see my totals down here for a quantity and a total serial lot value here. Now I have the option here to be able to manipulate these as far as putting them on hold, removing them from hold, updating a comment on them if I would so like, and you can use that here. So for instance, if I want to come down here and I'm going to put this serial lot on hold, I'm going to check this box if I want a hold reason. Maybe I want this, let's do it for one that's in my pop. So I put this in my pop bin, and I'm going to go on ahead and I'm going to mark this as needing QA. And this is just a note here in the comment, waiting on QA. And I can place this on hold. And now the serial lot's on hold, and we have an alert here that's showing you very easily that this one's on hold. Now if I wanted to just update this comment, I can come in here and check the box, and I can very easily come in here, and now I'm going to be second approval QA, and I can update that comment and manage that however I wish to do that. When I'm ready to take it off hold, I simply check the box again, and if I want the comment to go away. I can keep comments in there. We don't know what you really want to use that for. But now I'm going to remove the hold here, and you'll notice now that it is no longer on hold and it's available for you to use. So very user-friendly for people to help them manage their serial lot information and pull out trace activity here. So I'm going to close that application, and the next thing we're going to take a look at here in our inventory is I'm going to come up here to the IM Reorder Advice. And opening up the IM Reorder Advice report, you can see we have the item number, a location here, and then based upon how your item master information in Macola is set up here, you can select the order policy code here, and I'm just going to choose all of them. You can enter in a % over and under. You can indicate only the quantity on order, or do you want things with the reorder level only? And I'm going to leave those as they are, and I'm going to click OK. And then what I'm seeing here is a list based upon how I have those set up and my filter criteria. It's giving me a list of my items, the vendor that it is set up for, and what it is that it thinks I should be ordering and it's recommending for me to order. So if I scroll across here, I can see the information that I have set up in my Macola master files. So you can see I have my reorder levels, my quantities on hand here, my PO min, max, multiples, all of that is available in here on this grid. My lead times, my recommended minimum orders, who's my buyer, what my costs were, if it's stocked, controlled, all of that information is easily available for you to review. And based upon that review, then you can come in here, and maybe I'm only managing my MA location, so I could filter and only look at MA. And now here are the items that it thinks that I should order. So I'm going to come down here, and I have some sugar down here. And when I take a look at my sugar here, I can see that it's telling me to buy 1,276. So in theory here, it knows I have some on order. It knows I have quantity available and quantity on hand and allocated that's sitting out here. And if I want to take a look at what purchase orders I have, I can click OK on the PO button. And then I can see here I have a couple of purchase orders. I've received them. I've got a couple other purchase orders that I just created out here. And they're sitting out here and they haven't yet been received. So I could look at receivers or inventory transactions or drill into those purchase orders if I wanted more detail. If I want to go on ahead and maybe I've got purchase orders but I can't get them in time here, so I looked at those, but I can get a little bit of this product in from my purchaser in the next day or two. So here I can select that I want this item, and I've got it set to print, and here these are edit fields, so I can change the request date and I can change the quantity recommended. I know that because these fields are bold, and that's telling me that those are edit fields. So I don't want the full 1276 because I have some coming in at a later date. Maybe I only want 500. I have the ability to make a change to that. When I have these set up and all of them checked, I go on ahead and click Create PO. So I'm going to click the PO Create button. And this generated a purchase order, 135, for this sugar for the quantity of 500, and my request date is 5/8. So I'm going to go on ahead and I'm going to close that. And that has been created. And so this makes it very easy for you to review and see what you have set up on your items and what kind of recommendations this is giving you to make your purchase order decisions here. I'm going to go on ahead and close that reorder advice report. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take a look at purchase order. So I'm going to come down here and I'm going to take a look at purchase order receiving. So I select the purchase order receiving menu here. So in the purchase order and receiving, we don't have a lot that's in here, but what we do have is very awesome and powerful. So the first one I'm going to open up is I'm going to open up the PO receipts. And I'm going to go on ahead and open this up. And again, I have an initial filter here. And then here I have a preference. I have the ability for items that are going to come up here to receive to set a default receiving bin on my screen. To do that, I can leave it blank and then nothing will be there, but I'm going to go on ahead and enter doc. And I'm going to click OK. And this is my PO receiving screen. So you can see across the top here, we have a lot of different orders, alerts up the top here. So if I want to, I'm going to scroll over here a little bit, and I can see these are my purchase orders. Here's the one that I generated a minute ago for the sugar, 135, and it is for the sugar here. I can see the quantity ordered, the quantity received, canceled, what I have remaining, and then because in my settings I have it checked to default the quantity to receive into this field, it sets that at the quantity. Now I can turn that off and then it would leave it to 0, and the user would have to enter and update that for each one. You'll notice here, these are my edit fields. Not only are they bold, but sometimes they have blue boxes around them to help identify them. But here in my bin, I have the doc because it's showing me my binned items, and when they are binned, it defaulted that bin to doc. I can override that if I want, but if I want to set that, because I received them all into doc, it makes it very easy for me to do and enter that way. Now I do have some lotted items here, and if they are lotted, I will have to enter in a lot number here. If I have that set up, it will default in what it thinks is the next lot number. Now scrolling over here, I can see I have more of the quantity on hand, on order, allocated information for my receiving here. And then I have some more edit fields that are optional if I need to enter in this information. And then some additional ones. You can change those and take that away, or add in some fields if they're available, however you see fit, and save that custom layout. So here I've got my sugar here, and of course it's telling me I have low stock. So I can go on ahead, and this is my line status. I can see open, received. I have lots of them where they're over received. This is WiSys closed, which we'll talk about in a minute, versus Macola closed. And then over here I've got alerts where I can see this is low stock or it's out of stock. So this particular item for sugar, if I scroll over here, you'll see that I don't have any on hand here, so my on hand is 0. And on the ones above, my low stock is that my quantity on hand is less than or equal to my allocated. So I've got many great alerts here to help me manage this. If I want to filter out just the open items here, I can click on my little filter here, and the only thing I want to take a look at is the open line item. So I'm going to click OK, and now I have a PO grid of nothing but my open line items. Now if I want to group them by the order number, I've got my group by column up here, and I'm going to drag my order number up here. And so full expand, and now I can see all my different order numbers. So if I want to go on ahead and I'm going to receive this purchase order and this purchase order, and I'm going to receive this purchase order, and maybe on this one I didn't get all of my 1,400, I only got 1,200. I simply change that to the quantity I did get. They are set to go to my doc bin. This is lotted, so it defaulted in my lot, and the same here. This guy is lotted, so I clicked in there, and if I expand that field, you can see that it's assigning the lot number here. So let me just expand that out here. And let's see, I'm going to get this item. So now I have all my items selected, and let's see. Alright, so I am now ready. I'm going to check my receive button. And now those items have been received. Now because I received everything, they dropped off my screen because they are no longer in our open status. If I wanted to see that back here, I'm going to take off the open status here, and if I scroll up here and I take a look at my purchase orders, you can see those are now fully received here. Now this one down here is still open because I only received the 1,200 here. And that is the PO receipts. The next thing I want to show you is the PO clothesline process here. And I'm going to go on ahead and open this PO clothesline process here. And what this allows you to do is to actually come in here and close any purchase order line items that have not been fully received. So in Macola, you can't close the purchase order header and mark that as closed and complete until you open up and deal with the line. So if you have a lot of lines, or even just doing that and to open up the line, you have to handle that line and all of the lines that aren't done yet before you can do that. In the PO clothesline PO process, you can see here are all of the purchase orders here that have quantities available still to be received. So if I go on ahead, I'm going to turn around and I'm going to sort this the other direction here. So I'm going to sort it top to bottom here. And I guess hold on here for a second. Oh, I'm grouping it by order number. All right, by purchase order number. I need to sort up here because I have my group by order number. So I'm going to scroll up top here. And you can see here that here's the purchase order, the 133 that we just received that sugar in. Now, the order was for 1,400, but I only received 200. And I'm going through all of these. If I'm not going to receive these and I want to close this, what I can do here, instead of opening up and handling the line item, I'm simply going to, I can check the box to get the whole order. And I'm going to go on ahead and close this one too. And what this is going to do is it's going to automatically close those line items. It's going to change the quantity ordered down from the balance, the quantity remaining. So it's going to subtract that out, so that in this instance here it's going to set the quantity ordered to 1,200, and the quantity canceled is going to have 200 entered into that. And then that line will be closed, and it will allow you to run the Macola close purchase orders and then be able to move those off to history. So I've checked those boxes here, and I'm going to choose the close PO line. And this is a separate application here, and so those have now closed. If I refresh that, these are going to come off of my screen because they are no longer available line items to close. They're already done and handled. So I refresh that and those drop off. If I pop over here in my PO receipts, I'm going to refresh my grid here, and now you can see that my status has changed on this 133. My line is sitting in a close. It's WiSys closed. So this line is done and handled, and the same with these. So this is now available for the PO to be closed. Now you'll notice also here I do have the ability to directly close that purchase line from here. So if your receiving manager or person comes in here, they're looking through this, they have a bunch of them that they know they're not going to get, they can also do it right from the PO receipt screen. All right, I'm going to go on ahead and I'm going to close these applications. And the next thing I'm going to show you really quick is the PO receiver to create a P-voucher. Now, this is only for available right now for ES and EM10 vendors here. We don't have it completed for progression at this time. But what I can do is I'm looking at my PO receivers here for each one of the POs that I've received, and I can automatically create my AP voucher. So for instance here is this order for my sugar, and I went ahead and I received that, and I can check the different boxes here. If I open up my filter, I have to pick my vendor, who am I working on, and who do I want to create that for. I click OK, and I have my my purchase orders for that vendor, and I'm simply going to check this, and what I can do is say voucher and create that voucher. So it's going to pop up and it's going to ask me for about a batch number, and I can look up existing batch numbers if I have them, or I can create a new batch number. So if I want a new batch number, what is my terms code, and then what's my invoice date, my distribution date, what is my invoice number. I can put my invoice number in, and the amount of the invoice, let's see, I don't have one in front of me, but we're going to say it's 125, which just happens to match. Do I have any miscellaneous items? If I do, I can put those in there. Do I have freight? I can put those in there. Do I have any sales tax? And then I click OK. And this will go into Macola and create that AP voucher for that particular vendor. So it saves a lot of time there for your AP person too. And that is what we have for the inventory and the purchase order items. Thanks for joining us.